Part 3. Test 1. Number 1. Dear Mr. Jansen, we received your application for the Stephen Christopher Scholarship. We sincerely appreciate your interest. Each year, hundreds of students apply for the scholarship, and your outstanding academic record placed you among the finalists. However, we regret to inform you that the scholarship has been granted to someone else who has a wider experience in the industry. Considering that you are a few years younger than the others who are also applying, we encourage you to gain more experience and expose yourself more to different challenges and situations in the corporate world. This experience will greatly benefit your qualifications the next time you apply for the same scholarship. We encourage you to reapply for next year's slot and wish you the best of luck in your academic career. Sincerely, Jennifer Lowe. Number 2. I signaled to David, my diving teacher, that I was going down into the sea. As I slowly sank away from the lighted sea surface, I swam toward the cave wall. With a growing uneasiness, I realized that the cold was not nearly as much a problem as the dark. Underwater, it was completely, disorientingly dark. I couldn't see David. I couldn't see the bottom, and I could barely see the surface. I was breathing too fast, and my suit was too tight and confining. My panic grew at a rate almost too fast to control. I worked to calm myself. Slow your breathing. Adjust your buoyancy. Move slowly. It worked. I didn't dash to the surface. I looked at David, and out of habit only, I gave him a grin and a thumbs up, but it was enough to refocus and follow my training, adjust my buoyancy, take a slow breath, and proceed down. Now I was looking at my old invertebrate friends on the cave wall that had been the site of my very first underwater job. Number 3. People aren't distracted. They are distracted because information is everywhere, and the selection of the relevant messages becomes increasingly difficult. So, even if a piece of information was successfully delivered, it doesn't mean it's been noticed, understood, internalized, and pondered. It may just be forgotten or neglected. This is why Consul Marcus Tullius Cicero said, "Repetita iuvant," repetitions help. And the purpose is clear, ensuring the reception of that message or piece of information. It's best to repeat messages in different channels, even if it seems a redundant exercise. But only multi-channel information can somehow guarantee that a piece of information really reaches the audience. So do not hesitate to repeat your content in emails, intranet, staff meetings, and so on. At some point, it will reach the minds of your people and stick in their memory. Number 4. The foundation of an effective team is the recognition that each member needs every other member, and no individual can be successful without the cooperation of others. As a young boy, I was a very enthusiastic baseball fan. My favorite player was the Hall of Fame pitcher Robin Roberts of the Philadelphia Phillies. During the early 1950s, his fastball dominated the National League. My uncle, who took me to my first ball game, explained that opposing batters were so intimidated by Roberts's fastball that they were automatic outs, even before they got to the plate. My uncle claimed that Robin Roberts was unstoppable. Even as a young boy, I intuitively knew that no one was unstoppable by himself. I told my uncle that I knew how to stop Robin Roberts. Make me his catcher. Number 5. People or firms that purchase services online come in contact with other consumers as well as the service employees. For example, a hotel guest waits in line at the front desk or the concierge desk with other guests. In addition, the guests share facilities such as the pool, the restaurant, and the fitness center. Therefore, service firms must manage consumer interactions to the best of their abilities to ensure customer satisfaction. For example, a hotel's sales office would not want to book group business with a non-drinking religious group at the same time as a reunion of military veterans. The two groups are significantly different in behavior, and the expectation is that they would not mix well within the facilities at the same time. Similarly, restaurants separate smokers and non-smokers, and they should try to separate other patrons that show some potential for conflict. Number 6. Great coaches know that they can get their athletes to perform well by drumming certain ideas into their heads. Foremost is the idea that the players are winners, so that they will think only of winning and never about the possibility of losing. Chances are high that they indeed will win, because the image of themselves as winners will force them to concentrate only on the moves that ensure winning. This is basically the technique Jack Nicklaus, perhaps the greatest golfer of the past several decades, used to enhance his performance. Before every shot, he formed a mental picture in which he saw three things. 1. The target area the ball would land in. 2. The flight path of the ball to the target area. And 3. Himself using the appropriate swing for that particular shot. In short, if athletes define themselves as winners, they are more likely to win. By the same token, if athletes define themselves as losers, they will very likely lose. Number 7. A lichen is an organism consisting of a fungus and an alga living together, usually in an interdependent relationship. These hardy species are good biological indicators of air pollution because they continually absorb air as a source of nourishment. A highly polluted area around an industrial plant might have only gray-green crusty lichens or none at all. An area with moderate air pollution might support only orange crusty lichens. In contrast, areas with clean air can support larger varieties of lichens. Some lichen species are sensitive to specific air-polluting chemicals. Old man's beard and yellow Evernia lichens, for example, can sicken and die in the presence of excessive sulfur dioxide. SO2, even if the pollutant originates far away. For this reason, scientists discovered SO2 pollution on Isle Royale, Michigan, in Lake Superior, an island where no car or tall factory chimney has ever existed. They used Evernia lichens to point the finger northwest toward coal-burning facilities in and around the Canadian city of Thunder Bay, Ontario. Number 8. Belize is the second smallest country in Central America in landmass, the smallest in population, yet is one of the most diverse in several ways. Subtropical in climate, with a wet and a dry season, the country is located on the Caribbean Sea with Mexico to the north and Guatemala to the south and west. Most of Belize is low-lying country. The long coastline is often swampy, with lagoons and many small islands. A coral barrier reef, the world's second longest, protects the coast from high sea tides, but not from frequent destructive hurricanes. The northern region is also lowland and heavily forested with old-growth hardwoods such as mahogany. These have been harvested for many years and have been important in the Belizean economy. For such a small country, there is surprising biodiversity. Belize is recognized as one of the world's ecological treasures, and as a result, ecotourism is a growing part of their economy.